You know, sometimes in life it's kind of difficult to gather up the energy and the strength that we need to go about and accomplish the tasks that we want to accomplish. And in my case, let me share with you in my case. So I want to develop some still life elements on my painting. Now, the thing is, I don't really paint still life that often, and it's not really something, you know, that I spend a lot of time doing, and I can do it, but I really need to get the motivation to do it. And I think that relates to a lot of, you know, I think that relates to life. Sometimes in life we really struggle to get out of bed. We really struggle to get the day started, and you know, especially if you're a painter and you're finding difficulty in getting motivation for painting. This is what we're going to do today. So let's go ahead and take a look at a Caravaggio painting. So this is a Caravaggio painting, a very simple painting, but it's a very, very powerful one. And this is the Caravaggio painting that initially gave me the idea to come up with this composition for this painting. So this is a painting of Saint Jerome, and he's reading a book, and I don't really know too much of the historical context behind it, but what I know is that that painting was the creative spark to get this composition going. Now, what's going on in this painting is that not only is it masterfully painted, but the way that the still life complements the figure is really something that is incredibly powerful. It's an incredibly powerful thing to have the still life in the composition go in hand with the figurative element in the composition. Now here's another Caravaggio painting. Now again, I don't really know too much of the historical context behind this painting, so I'm not going to talk about the historical context. Now if we look at this still life elements on the table, wow, I mean, that is just wow, how the still life complements the figure. And this is a large painting, and this is the type of painting that really I would most likely want to create that kind of depth and volume in my painting. And I don't want to copy what Caravaggio did. Of course, I don't want to copy. I want to create my own original work and share it with the world. But the fact is, for me, to get motivation to create these paintings, it's really, really about now looking to the masters of the past and seeing how they used still life element to complement their figurative work. Now let's take a look at another painting. So Vermeer in this painting, it was another compositional element that inspired this painting that we're currently working on. So there is the globe, of course, in that painting, and again, it's really about the sense of the light shining right through that painting. Now the thing is, Vermeer, not only was he a master of light, but take a look at the still life, take a look at the drapery, take a look at all of the elements in the painting framing the figure, the central figure of that painting. And to me, that is just powerful. And to me, I want to learn and take in as much as I can from these masters and really put that into a series of videos that shows you how that is developed in the painting. I really want to bring the experience of being here and creating these paintings for you. That is what motivates me to get up out of bed every day. That is what motivates me to spend all of these hundreds of hours creating these videos. That is what motivates me to bring that experience to you. Now let's go ahead and put some paint on this palette. And now that we have the paints on the palette, I'd like to welcome you to a brand new day in the studio. And in today's video, we're going to further develop the still life elements, and we're really going to try to start to bring some of the still life elements to life and really try to get these still life elements to complement the figurative element in the composition. So on the palette here today is titanium white, flake white, burnt umber, alizarin permanent, cadmium red medium, yellow ochre, sap green, ultramarine blue, ivory black, and our painting medium is Liquin original. So here we have a photograph of our model Steve, and I'm going to keep an image of him to the top left corner of your screen. There. So right there, you're going to have an image of our model Steve, so you can refer to it as the painting develops. Now just keep in mind, just like I say every day, this is a large canvas, so this canvas is going to be at an angle with respect to the camera, just so there isn't so much glare and so that I don't block the footage. So let's take a look over here. So right here, this is going to be our area that we're going to be working on today. This is going to be the little area in the painting that we're going to develop. And again, this is a large painting. This is very much a narrative painting that I really want this painting to have a lot of strength. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this area, maybe one little segment at a time, and analyze it in terms of the color and the value. So let's return to the palette. And on the palette, we're going to mix up a value scale, but of a completely different color family. So let's go ahead and start to do that. So a little bit of our medium. This is Liquin original. And again, if you're new to this channel and you want to know exactly what materials I'm using, you can always go ahead and scroll down to the description box below. And of course, all of that stuff will be typed up for you. So what I'm using is ultramarine blue, ivory black for my first little value. Now I'm going to start to move up in the value scale, and I'm going to introduce flake white and a little bit of cadmium green. A little bit of sap green. So sap green right now and flake white. And what I want to do is get a color that is kind of like a sky blue type color. So you know the sky isn't completely blue, right? It's going to have a little tiny bit of green into it. So we want something very similar to a sky blue. So I think we're starting to get there. And this is going to be, of course, for the book. So this is going to be our little value scale that we're going to be moving back and forth in with the book. And we're going to create a warmer scale. So we kind of work in terms of values and the hues. We're going to be structuring the hues in this way. So a little bit of burnt umber, ultramarine blue, going back to the yellow ochre. Now it's getting too greenish, so we're going to warm it up a little bit more with the alizarin permanent, back to the titanium white, back to the burnt umber, now titanium white. And this is going to be for kind of like the lighter, warmer areas in the book. In particular, I think the pages that are lit, the high lit pages of the book. Alright, so now that we have this little working value scale on the palette, let's go ahead and get a different brush. Notice how I always use one brush to charge the palette and another one or another set of brushes to apply the paint. So let's see, I think I'm going to work with some bristles for now. So I'm going to use some bristle brushes. So let's see, the one with the blue tape, how about we use this one for this area and the other one for this area. So I'm going to put this brush away. We'll return to it when it's time to recharge the palette. So now we're going to be looking at each section of the painting in terms of the value. And in particular, we're going to be looking at that book right now. So we're going to go ahead and work on the value scale in this little section of the book. I don't really feel like I want to oil out this area that I'm going to be working on. Remember, oiling out is when we apply the medium over top of the surface. I don't think I'm going to do that right now. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow in the next layer. Not entirely sure if I'm going to cover all of this, but I'm going to, at least for now, focus on this area of the book. So again, just taking from that little value scale on the palette, it's going to start to get a little bit darker as we roll across here. And again, this is why I said that in the beginning of the video, I really needed some motivation to get to this portion of the painting. And let's be real, okay? I'm going to be real with you. I really enjoy painting portraits. I really enjoy painting, doing figurative paintings. I don't particularly enjoy still life that much, but, you know, I enjoy all of painting. I want to keep that in my mind. I enjoy all of painting, but for me, for some reason, still life, I don't do still life as much. I would probably rather be painting a landscape, to be honest, but the reality is that I want this painting to have the strength of the other paintings that I showed you earlier in this video. And, you know, I'm trying to show you, how to get motivated to paint. It's not always the case. We wake up with a huge smile on our faces and we pick up our palettes and we get going. Sometimes we really have to motivate ourselves. Sometimes we really have to push ourselves. And if we can find motivation within ourselves to overcome things and challenges in life, if we can find that all within ourselves, we're all winners. We really are. So let's go ahead and start to, I'm just trying to soften this little edge here, just ever so slightly. Just softening it. And I'm softening it by mixing up an intermediate value change. Alright, so now let's go ahead and put in some of those lighter, warmer elements in the picture that I was talking about. So for instance, this area right here. Yes, I know I have to get to that hand. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of paper towel. Piece of paper towel, but we're gonna return to this hand in a separate video. This hand is gonna take another kind of motivational day to get to. I'm not gonna try to completely paint it out though. So now this is the light area of the book. And it's going to be in shadow over here, so we need a darker value. But tell you what, this value can't really be that warm, so I'm going to go ahead and cool it down just a little bit with the ultramarine blue. And we're really working with color temperatures right now. This is completely different to the figure, to the portrait. But, this is actually starting to become more fun. It took me a while to get the motivation to start working on the still life, but now that I'm here, it's not that bad. And so to all of you out there that really enjoy painting still life, here comes the question of the day. So in the comments section down below, go ahead and comment down right now. What is your favorite still life elements to paint? I'd be very curious. For me, I like painting organic things, like, I don't know, like a watermelon, like a chopped up watermelon or something. That's the type of still life that I like to paint. So again, there's going to be a little more light over here, but now it's going to get a little tricky because even though there's a little more light here, it's still in the shadow. So it's a light element in the shadow. So this is probably one of the trickiest areas in terms of value. We're going to be very careful with this value. You know, and the way that we're going to keep something in the shadow, so the way we're going to keep a lighter element in the shadow is by contrasting that element with an area that's similar to that element in the light. So what do I mean? Basically, I'm going to make this value right here where my brush is darker, wait for it, darker than this one that is in the light. And that's all. And with that, we should be able to see kind of that this area is in shadow. And even better, we're going to put in a little bit of light here. So yeah, the drawing did get a little different from the photo reference to the drawing is a little bit different from the photo reference. So in the photo reference, the book kind of overlaps the hand there, but not in the painting. I must have missed that. You know, but that's one of the nice things about still life. Now this is a smaller book. Who's going to know it's a smaller book? So again, light, light, shadow. And that's how we do it. So let's go ahead and switch back to the other brush, and we're going to push the value a little bit darker in a certain area. So let's get this dark and this dark together. It's okay if we cross paths with the colors. They're not going to explode on us. You know, and if in any time of the day when you're painting and you feel a sense of fear with the painting, always remind yourself, well, some of you know what I'm probably going to say, always remind yourself it's just paint. It's just paint. It's not going to hurt you. And always find a way to keep it fun, to keep it motivating for you. You know, a lot of artists, they encounter something that's called artistic burnout or something, I've heard. And it's a very real thing to get burnt out. And really that happens when, I think when you're doing the same thing a little too much. So today, of course, you know, that's going to be difficult for someone like me that's going into the studio every single day and creating these paintings and working on these paintings. So what keeps me from basically burning out with this painting? What keeps me painting, basically? And you know, the reality is I really want to bring this experience to you. You sitting there watching my video, you are enough to motivate me to do this and to create this experience. It's all for you. So another thing you can do to motivate yourself to paint, maybe you used to paint and you stopped painting. Another thing you can do, just get the paint out, hold a palette, get yourself a nice large palette and hold that thing and look at the mirror. Hold that large palette, look at the mirror, put some paints on it, and one thing will lead to another. You will start painting. You know, something about holding a palette really kind of gives you strength. So returning to the painting now. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of lifting up this value here. See that for the little booklet? So that's going to be the little page. And now we're going to bring up the value a little bit. But I don't want it to be that yellow, so we're going to put in a touch of that. And just a little touch. So lighter there. You know, we're going to let the brush stroke suggest the pages of the book. A little bit of light there as it goes across. See that? See how the brush strokes themselves are going to suggest the pages of the book. Now we're going to return to this little section here. So we're actually seeing a little bit of the light region of the book in this area here. So there's going to be a little slight, see that, a little slight page or corner of the page here in this book. Whoops. So again, I'm really trying to motivate you to paint. You know, if even one person out there picks up a paintbrush after watching this video, after not painting for a while, that is worth everything to me. So let's go ahead and bring out a little bit more light right here for that area of the page. So it's in perspective. We're seeing a little bit here as it gets closer to us, and then a little bit less over here because in perspective it's turning away from us, but you know, it's also just the page of the book going down. Now we're going to want a pretty nice and bright blue. That's going to be the case where I'm going to switch brushes just so I don't have to clean the brushes. Notice I'm not really cleaning the brushes that often these days. It's just because I'm kind of keeping them in a kind of a specified value color range on the palette. So this does save me a lot of time, but I do clean the brushes maybe after 20 minutes or so. So it's going to be, wait, this light was for here. So yep, there we go. So we're trying to push that light shape. A little bit brighter. So that is for this very chromatic area of the book. You know, maybe that's too blue. And again, really the color is going to get a little distorted from the photograph. So tell you what, I think the next time we travel to my portrait painting group and work from life, we're going to re-examine all of these colors and maybe just glaze them to tweak the colors a little bit and to see if we can get them just right. But you know, color is something that can always be built. You can always build it. What matters is the value. So now I'm going to go ahead and push the little bit of the value here for the book. See how it's going to get darker here, right there, because the book is going to be turning away from us. And as it turns away, it's going to get darker and darker until it's completely away from us. You know, and I may have to blend a little bit over here just to get that soft gradation of tone. Okay, so after putting that in there, I think that we can travel down to this area of the painting. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the other brush that I had and I'm going to put a little bit of green. So we're sticking with this little cooler area, but we're going to put some greenish tone. And again, the focus is not really in trying to finish any one area right now. The focus is on building. We're building the painting. So a little bit more of a darker value, you know, but not that dark. I want it to be a step higher. So maybe over here, and we're going to sneak in a little bit of Alizarin permanent. So again, there's going to be a little bit of a cast shadow underneath of the book. A little bit of a cast shadow. And then we're going to go over that just to make that edge a little bit more solid later on. So let's go ahead with this same brush. I guess this brush is going to cross to a lighter area now. I'm going to pull this area out, just so we have the bottom platform of that book. Simple little shape for that. You know, and there's nothing wrong with alla prima. There's nothing wrong with working alla prima, meaning wet on wet. It's just that the reason that we're building these layers in this kind of fashion, as opposed to trying to go at them all at once and finish them all at once, which would be an alla prima approach, is that I think that when more specificity is required in the painting, I think that's when it's a good idea to layer. I think layering is more helpful for areas or even types of paintings that need to be more specific, such as portrait. Doesn't mean that alla prima portrait is not good, because, I mean, come on, I've made so many videos doing alla prima portraits. But I just find that this is a much more relaxing way to work. So let's see, let's push a little more light. There. See, those are the little magical moments in the painting. And I'm so happy I get to share those moments with you. Now then, let's return to this area of the painting. And I think that I want to push this light. Squinting at the photo reference, I think that, yeah, I'm going to push this light. Or maybe what I'm going to do is just start to introduce the little blue shape. How about that? And again, we're not going to worry about the details. The details can always be added. Details can always be added later. And again, even the word detail just kind of makes me cringe. So now we can compare certain areas of color, and the photograph at this point is kind of useless because these colors, I'm pretty sure, aren't going to be as similar as they appear on the photo reference, unless they're, of course, the same pages, but I don't think so. So let's go ahead and ignore the photo reference for now. So let's go ahead and mix up a kind of a more neutral gray. So less chromatic than that, but still kind of blue. So something along the lines of this will do. There we go. Whoops. Yeah, making the canvas bounce a little bit. So a little bit lighter there. So yeah, I'm going to be tweaking the way this color looks, but I'm still going to try to keep the element of the page, or like this little frame that the page has. I know I kind of just lost it there, but we're building up to it. This is going to go all down here. And you know, this is why I said I needed some motivation to get to this, because I think this area is a little more, I don't know, I don't want to say it's not fun, because, I mean, I'm having fun here talking to you, guiding you through this, but I think that, you know, I mean, certain areas of the painting, such as the hands and stuff, not always, but certain areas, such as the face, are a little more fun to paint. But let's go ahead, you know, let's have fun with this. Let's have fun with this. So we're making this lighter, titanium white, with a single brush stroke, maybe from this direction. It's a single brush stroke. Dang. Almost got it, but we didn't. So try again. There you go. That's how you paint a page. That's how you make something look like a page. So a little bit more titanium white, and I don't want it to be that bright. So let's put in a little bit of yellow ochre. I don't know now. Let's say ivory black. How about that? Let's try that. Okay, let's go ahead and put this back in here. Cool. All right, so now we're getting the shape of that page. So this is now going to appear like a page. And you know, when one form overlaps another form, this is another page being overlapped by this page. You tell me what's going to happen here. Go ahead, think about it. I'm pretty sure you already know. But if you're still questioning what on earth I'm talking about, when one area of the painting overlaps with another area, that is, this page is overlapping with this page, it's going to create an accent. And here's what the accent is. All right, drum roll. Single brush stroke time. Nice. All right, so that one brush stroke indicates to us that this area, so this page, is overlapping with this page. And that's it. I mean, that's really all it takes. All right, so now let's take a look at these pages. So there's going to be kind of a little yellowish area. So I guess it's another map or another style of map. So I'm going to get the warmer brush and I'm going to make it warmer. So we're going to put in the yellow ochre, but not that warm. So Alizarin permanent. So a little bit of ivory black and a flake white. Now we're getting really intricate with our colors. And let's go ahead and put that shape in there. Too light, it's too light, and it's a little bit too yellow. So let's go into the burnt umber. Burnt umber titanium white. All right, so let's go ahead and put that shape in here. Nope, still a little bit darker. So I'm gonna go down here. There we go, now we're starting to get that value. Let's see, single brushstroke time, yes, maybe no. Nice. So that's pretty much single brushstroke. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm kind of just dabbing off the paint with the paper towel. And we're going to add a little more titanium white and a little bit of flake white just to build the consistency. And if you're wondering, these are the paints that I took out of my freezer. These are the same paints that I was using, I don't know, 2 days ago before. So today is, anyway, I used them 2 days ago. So let's see if we can build this light here. So starting from here, let's check this out. Can this be single brush stroke or not? Let's see. Almost done with a single brush stroke, but yeah, I kind of messed up right there. Oh wait, you know what? The page is kind of going over, so let's just put that shape back into there. There we go. So that page is actually going a little further out. So yeah, that works out just fine. And now there's going to be some other pages on top of each other here. So how are we going to paint that? So we're going to get to the smaller brush and we're going to use value. And so when one form overlaps another form, it creates an accent. So we're going to go ahead and paint in the accents. One here. And another one. There. So now we have these pages that look like they're overlapping one another. So now we're going to return to the value scales on the palette. So what I'm going to do is just with the paper towel, just taking off some of the paint here, and we're going to shift the hue on these little value scales. And the color that we're going to change it to is going to be, change them to is going to be very similar, but a little bit different. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze. I'm a little bit sick today. Sorry. Anyway, so the we're going to mix up a kind of a reddish, a neutral reddish value scale. So basically, we're going to be using Alizarin permanent, Ivory black. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've been like fighting a cold for a couple days now. So anyway, so this is basically burnt umber alizarin permanent. And now we're going to shift over to the cadmium red range, and we're going to cool down the cadmium red and neutralize it with a little bit of the ultramarine blue, using the colors that were already here, knowing that they're going to influence and change the way that this mixture looks. So meaning I'm taking into account the color that I'm painting over top of. I'm just changing the hue of this value scale. So now we have our little reddish value scale, and now we're going to create a greenish one with this one. So let's go ahead and just tint it a little bit. So we're going to use ivory black and yellow ochre. Ivory black and yellow ochre can give us a very nice kind of chill green, meaning not as warm as sap green. So a little bit lighter over here, and maybe a little bit bluer. So again, back to the sap green, but I'm actually going to again go into the ivory black, yellow ochre, ivory black and yellow ochre. Again, they can create a really nice and chill green. That's what we want. Now it's going to start to get darker and darker and darker and even darker. Just using the ivory black. Now it's going to get really dark there. So now, again, this brush I used to charge this area, and this brush I used to charge this area, but I might end up using this brush for painting. So let's go ahead and get a different brush. I have a lot of brushes here on hand just so I don't have to spend time cleaning them. So a little more medium, and we're going to get into this little area here of the value scale. And so this isn't going to take long. We're almost done. So we're going to put another little value here. So let's see if we can do that with a single brush stroke. I might need more paint for that. So yellow ochre, ivory black, titanium white, ivory black, a little more medium. All right, so let's go ahead and put in a single brush stroke. And we almost got it, almost got it. There we go. Now we're going to put in the little accent mark. So again, why is there going to be an accent here? You tell me. So we're going to get this darker value here. Very simple. Again, we're going into this area of the value scale just because I don't want it to get too dark. So that's why I'm up here instead of over there. All right, let's try this out. Single brush stroke time, drum roll. Is this going to work? Oh yeah, we got it. We got the platform of the book with the single brush stroke. That is the most exciting brush stroke I think I've ever laid down, to be honest. Alright, so let's make this lighter. You know what? Books are a lot of fun to paint. I didn't think that getting into this. Looks good to me. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the lighter, warmer brush. I'm going to add a little bit of, you know, I kind of want a more yellowish tone. So I'm going to put in the titanium white. Now we're going to actually mix up a different little color scale. But not really, like, we're not going to do the whole color scale. Just this little section here. It's a little bit warmer, a little bit more orangey. And that is going to be for this little light here on the book. Now that's a little bit too orange, orangey pink. So that is the point where I get a different brush. So we're back with a different brush. Now we're putting in the yellow ochre. This brush is kind of rough. Titanium white, and don't worry, this is going to be, we're very close to the end for today. A little bit of the ivory black. Now I don't want it to be that chromatic, so I'm going to have to counter it with the ivory black. So that cools down the chroma a little bit. It's a very particular color that we're after here, so let's go ahead and put that color where it needs to be. And you say, why am I putting this warmer color? Simply because the light is a little bit warmer. I noticed it yesterday working from Life. And I have a setting for that light that I'm using, so I know that the light is in the same kind of temperature each time. So there goes that light. We're going to leave a little bit of the underpainting there to show through, just because I like the way that looks. See how that's starting to illuminate a little bit? And you know, we're going to take the same thing, maybe just tint it a little bit cooler, take some of this, just so we don't repeat the same exact color. Just adds a little bit of variety. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that there. If I had a large enough brush right now, this would be done in a single brush stroke, but it's okay. This will do just fine. Now again, for those reds, so this is why I have that red value scale. So we're going to go ahead and put this value over here. Super quick. Now we're going to go ahead, go up in value. Very quickly, we're starting to put that little shape for the book. A little bit lighter again. See how fast we can move with these value scales already mixed up for us. Man, books are a lot of fun to paint. Oops, got paint on my thumb. I think I'll be okay. So we're just adjusting that edge a little bit. Just to make sure it's in the same plane. And this is going to be the last little modification. And so now you can see that the luminosity is starting to develop with this painting. So again, the goal for today was to start to develop the still life. And so with the still life now we see that there's much more light. So I will note the straight lines. Later on we'll come back with that the straight edge tool and we will adjust it. But what was more important was to get the large color and values and start to develop the structure, just like we did with the face and with that hand. We're going to return to this hand later, but again, the sphere, I'm going to go ahead and get a sphere tool to make this look more round later on, and I'm going to put, again, I'm going to make these lines even more straight later on, but I got the effect of light and started to develop a little more of the structure, which is what I wanted to achieve with this sitting. And that being said, I really hope that today's video helps you out. I wish you the best in all of your artwork, and as always, I'm trying to bring the experience of being here in the studio creating these paintings for you every single day. And who knows, maybe in the future we'll be able to travel to different art studios and create some exciting content there. And maybe even when the weather warms up, we'll be able to go out and film some alla prima landscape painting, plein air painting, who knows. I'm really trying to bring the experience of painting to you. I really wish you the best in all of your artwork. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll be back again tomorrow. And as always, here is what the painting looks like after today's sitting. So we can see that there's quite a bit more light and stuff going on here with these still life elements. That being said, I really hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll be back again tomorrow.